Hello everybody, this is Hamma here from the Araxis Global Network, PlanetSide-universe.com for another episode of AGN Instant Action. It's been a little while since we've done one of these, and there's a couple of different reasons for that. One, been very busy, haven't had a whole lot of time to do videos, and two, well, these take a lot of work to put together, and unlike a lot of folks who are doing YouTube videos now, you know, I've been living and breathing and eating PlanetSide 2 for the past year and a half, so it's a little bit different for me. So I've kind of taken a little break from doing a lot of YouTube videos, just because the time investment involved and stuff like that. So anybody who's watched our previous AGN Instant Actions or AGN Squad Beacons or any of those things realizes that one of my biggest quirks or complaints about the game was the lack of a new player experience. I felt like for this sort of game, you really needed a solid new player experience to get people to understand how to play the game. It's very complicated. It's not just run around and shoot people. You know, there's a lot more going on here. So the first iteration of that is on the test server actually right now. And before I start, just going to clarify, this is totally new. It's probably going to change. It's fresh. There could be bugs. But I wanted to at least walk you guys through it, make some comment on it, and, you know, just see what it's like. So the new player experience actually starts when you create a new character, and you can actually go and get into it after the fact too, and I'll show you that a little bit later. But let's go ahead and create a new character. I already started filling it in. You see you have a checkbox here. You can skip the tutorial if you want to. Go ahead and hit finish, and let's check out this new player tutorial, see what it's like. That is if I don't crash the desktop. Alright, here we go. So here we are, the usual test server message.
Welcome, Private. This is a virtual reality training area designed to get you up to speed on combat on Araxis. There are no consequences in this area, so it's alright to make mistakes and take as much time as you need to get acclimated. This training program can be accessed at any time from your help menu, should you wish to return at a later time. Use your movement keys to move forward, backward, and sidestep to the left or to the right.
So as you can see, it goes over the very basics.
Use the mouse to turn and to look up and down.
And it's brand new, so there's some overlapping boxes and stuff like that, but overall it's put together pretty well from the start.
The jump key is used to hurdle battlefield obstacles, but the crouch key can be used to duck down and make yourself a smaller target. Holding down the sprint key while moving will make you run faster, but you cannot use any weapons while sprinting, and it takes longer to pull out your weapon after you stop.
So as you can see, it goes over the very basics from the beginning. How to move, how to aim, how to sprint, all that good stuff. And if you run faster than he's talking to you, he'll actually skip over it. So it's...
This gravity pad lets you move up and down, and do it quickly. Simply step on the pad, and you will ascend or descend in the direction of the flowing particles.
So it's actually, you know, it's triggered based on where you are in the tutorial. And there's kind of a tutorial area, although when I played through the tutorial the first time, you don't actually ever go outside. You kind of stay in this building, so that indicates that there's going to be more added to this tutorial.
Capture and hold these points to take control of the region. A successful uplink must be maintained in order to complete the transfer of control, so lock those points down.
So as you can see, it kind of goes over the basics of how to capture something. It shows you the capture point, shows you the countdown, highlights it, all that good stuff. Very good stuff for a new player who's never played PlanetSide.
The facility is ours. Use the Interact key for interacting with most objects in the world. The most common objects you will use are terminals, which can be used to resupply, change classes, create vehicles, or change continents. Walk up to an equipment terminal and interact with it.
So this room is pretty cool. It's a little bit of a shooting range. You know, it shows you a terminal, it shows you around, kind of like how to shoot at people, how to spot people, stuff like that. We'll go through it a little bit, but we won't go through the whole thing.
When you interact with a terminal, your view will switch to a menu of options available at the terminal. Click the green resupply button on the left side of the terminal menu to equip your selected loadout and resupply all of your ammunition. To change classes, interact with an equipment terminal, then select the class you'd like to use on the left side of the menu. Your weapons are just as dangerous to your teammates as they are to the enemy, so it is essential you learn how to identify friend from foe. By default, your teammates all have friendly blue triangle indicators above their heads, and their names show up when you point your crosshair near them. Enemy players do not have any indicators above them unless they are spotted. Press the spot key while you have an enemy in your crosshair to mark them for yourself and for nearby friendly players.
So it actually also goes over, as you just noted, it goes over spotting, it goes over hip fire, it goes over aim down sight, and so on.
Where your shots will land when you fire your weapon. This area is referred to as your cone of fire. Cone of fire can be managed by controlling your shots with short bursts. Each shot fired also has recoil, which is a small kick that will move your crosshair and increase your cone of fire slightly. Try shooting some targets using hip fire.
So after that, he goes over shooting targets with aim down sight, obviously, and you kind of get the drift here. So it's a pretty cool area. For some reason, the lighting isn't working like it was last night, but actually the lights are cool. It highlights the guys and shows them in front of the backdrop. Not really sure why it looks the way it does tonight, but it looked actually clearer when I came through here last night. So
teleporters provide quick transportation within the facility. Step on the pad to begin the process.
So this is pretty much the end of it. It walks you through the very basics.
Death is inevitable, but there are many ways to get back into the fight. Warp terminals have a globe icon, and are... Death is inevitable, but there are many ways to get back into the fight. Warp terminals have a globe icon, and are marked on your mini-map and heads-up display. Warp gate terminals allow long-range transportation for infantry units. It allows a soldier to travel to any link...
So, as you can see, they're going to go ahead and send us Indar. So we will go there. And then you kind of move into where you would have gone before this tutorial went in, as you can see next.
Every continent where we have a foothold, you will find a warp gate facility, with access to all vehicles and terminals. You can also use instant action to get right into the fight. This will initiate a short countdown and take you to a fight where you're needed. You can access instant action anywhere by pressing your instant action key.
So this is something that's a little bit different.
Use instant action to get into the fight.
So it looks like they've modified instant action. When you hit this key, it actually shows you where you're going to go, and a little countdown at the top. So that's pretty cool. That's a new feature as far as I know. I don't remember seeing that on live, so that's another thing that's new. So essentially you get in the drop pod and you drop. So you've got that additional tutorial piece in between when they just randomly drop you into the fight. So definitely much needed, no question about it.
You're a soldier of the Terran Republic. Victory is our tradition. Good luck.
So here we are, and as you can see, dropped in, and now you start. So that's the basics of the tutorial. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot more added to it. And as you can see here, if you go to escape and you hit support, you can actually go back into the tutorial anytime. So another quick thing that I noticed that Higby actually talked about was there's ADS mouse sensitivity. So you can adjust your aim down sight sensitivity now. And this is on public test, and I'm sure that this is going to be coming out to live next. So in true test server tradition, I actually crashed a desktop when I was in the middle of showing you guys the aim down sight section, but you kind of got the gist of it. So as you can see, there is a tutorial in the game now, and this is much needed in my opinion, because, well, PlanetSide 2 is a fairly complex game. You know, at its very core, you're shooting people, right? And so that's not very complicated. But when it gets beyond that, there's a little bit more to it. You've got capture mechanics, you've got vehicles, you've got all sorts of crazy stuff going on. You've got spawn control units, generators, shields. You know, there's a lot more to it than that. And then, of course, you've got the capture system and the future capture system, which is coming from Indar soon. If you guys didn't see it, Higby put up a work in progress of kind of the new map that they're looking to put in place for this, which essentially looks like PlanetSide 1. I don't like it really at all, but you know that it is what it is. It looks like it's probably going to go in. The majority of folks like it, and you know, probably not popular for me not to like it, because it's PlanetSide 1 thing. But, you know, in the end, it is what it is, and we're going to get a new capture system and a new hex system that's going to be a lot different than what we're used to in PlanetSide 2, but it's going to be very similar to what we had in PlanetSide 1, where you can only go certain ways. But I digress as I crash. Let's go ahead and move into, let me talk about the tutorial just a little bit more, and then we'll go ahead and call this an episode. So the tutorial system is something that, as I said, was much needed. There's a lot of players that will come into this game expecting your standard shooter experience and be turned off almost immediately when they were dropped in by that drop pod and you know, killed. Essentially, you never had time to react, get used to your controls, or anything. Now you can get used to your controls. You can go through a training area, and you can do a shooting range, and you can get used to all your weapons. You can play around with the different classes, and then when you're done, you end up at the warp gate. He explains what that is a little bit, and then you have the choice to do what you want from there. And of course, you can instant action in, like he shows you, or you can do whatever you want at that point. So it adds a lot more flexibility in. And it's going to be a great addition to the game for those players who have never played a PlanetSide game before and don't really realize how steep the learning curve can be when it starts to boil down, because there's a whole lot more than just shooting at people. Anyway, I am Hamma. This is the Araxis Global Network and AGN Instant Action. Be sure to check us out at PlanetSide-Universe.com. Follow us on Twitter at PSUcom. Follow me on Twitter at CDLHamma. And of course, we're on Facebook and all that good stuff too, so be sure to check us out. And be on the lookout for public test server tests, because there's a lot going on. They're adding a lot to the game with every game update, and they need everybody's help to test it. So if you can, patch up your public test server. Instructions are on the official forums, and you know, give it a test. Until next time, I am Hamma. You guys have a good one.